Hello and welcome to the News by Standards. The US has marked a year since Russia invaded Ukraine by announcing a new range of sanctions against Russia and new military aid for Ukraine. The latest restrictions target more than 100 entities, both within Russia and worldwide, including banks and suppliers of defense equipment. Specifically, the US said it wants to stop those helping Russia exploit loopholes to get sanctioned materials. The White House's fresh round of aid for Ukraine is worth $2 billion. A further $500 million will be supplied to both Ukraine and neighbouring Moldova to strengthen their energy infrastructure. 1 year on, the commitment of the United States, together with some 50 countries who've rallied to rush urgently needed assistance to Ukraine, has only strengthened, the Department of Defense said. In a press release, the White House said the new measures were designed to disrupt Russian financial institutions, officials and authorities from illegitimately operating in Ukraine. It comes 4 days after US President Joe Biden made a surprise visit to Kiev, where he held talks with his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky. In its latest round of aid, the US government is providing Ukraine with new drone systems, high-mobility rocket systems, ammunition for artillery systems, and communications gear. Earlier this week, the US said China was considering supplying lethal weapons to Russia. They also claimed Chinese firms had already been supplying non-lethal dual-use technology items, which could have both civilian and military uses, such as drones and semiconductors. China has strongly denied the allegations. A meeting of G7 leaders was held on Friday, where they created an enforced team designed to stop Russia from finding sanctions loopholes. G7 countries will continue to keep Russia's sovereign assets immobilized until there is a resolution to the conflict, the group said in a press release. The G7 Group of Seven is an organization of the world's 7 largest advanced economies. They are Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the UK, and the United States. It has so far committed $39 billion to Ukraine's war efforts for 2023. The US said G7 countries and allies would also impose sanctions on key economic sectors in Russia, including its metals and mining sector. Our actions today with our G7 partners show that we will stand with Ukraine for as long as it takes, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said. The US added that it would provide Ukraine with electrical grid equipment to protect its energy supply from Russian strikes, and with generators to provide backup power. The White House will provide Moldova, which borders Ukraine and heavily relies on Russian gas, with $300 million to help increase its local power generation. Moldova is Europe's poorest country and has been heavily impacted by the war. Its leaders have warned for several weeks that Russia is plotting to seize power.